You know, the mail carrier is probably not too happy with me today, but man, oh man, did this make my day. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this Paletteful Packs February 2022 unboxing. As always, the full description of each item in this month's box will be listed in the box below. So let's go ahead and get started. So surprisingly, I actually received my prompts before I got my package, so I was able to peek a little look at what items came in the box. And first things first, our sticker. This is just so cute, and it's on their little website. I mean, whoever did this, just great job on the sticker. It is absolutely lovely. Anyways, first thing I see is a bunch of inks, which are the Marabou Graphix Metallic and Pearlescent Aqua inks, retailing for $29.61. This pearl blue one looks to be a little bit damaged, so I don't know, we'll see. We got them in pearl blue, pearl lilac, pearl white, rose gold, gold, copper, silver pearl, and pearl green. And we will be using the Princeton Artiste Select Round 3 brush, retailing for $6.25. Back to the inks. Look at this super cool dome. It's like a little bubble verse, but apparently these are so new that you can't find them in art stores or even on their website, which I checked out, but I didn't see it on there at all. They state to be very versatile and highly pigmented watercolor inks for fine art and mixed media. They can be used at full strength for bright vivid tones or blend with water for softer hues and gradations. They can also be reworked even after they're dry, but we will be the judge of all of this. Next is the All Alternatives Pigment Liner, retailing for $1.99. It says the pens contain acid-free archival quality water-based pigment ink that is water and fade resistant when dry. Again, we'll be the judge of that. Now, this next thing, the Pental Dual Metallic Brush Pen, retailing for $9.99. There are specific instructions for these. It says to shake well before each use and to store horizontally. And at first, I thought it was a double brush pen, but then it dawned on me that it was more like a mechanical pencil type of feeling thing. And wow, that metallic ink is just amazing. At first I thought it was like way too watery, but then when it kicked in, I was humbled very quickly. I'm sorry if you can hear my babies in the background, by the way. And for our surface this month is the Marabou Graphix Aqua paper, retailing for $19.99. This new paper pad from Marabu is a fine-grained, slightly textured paper pad for watercolor and other water-based media. Okay, now that our box is nice and empty, it's time to grab our sketchbook and get to arting. The first thing I want to do, similar to last month's box, is to just drop some water down, like maybe even an even layer of water, and see how the ink interacts with water. I have no idea what I'm making at this point. I just took 3 colors and started pushing them all around, and then while this dries, I'll move on to a painting of this still life of an egg sandwich that I ate at my grandma's house. I liked the photo and I thought it'd be fun, but I was going to simplify. I wasn't going to do everything that's inside the picture. I was just going to do the plate and the cup. But now let's go over these Marabou Claims. I was a little concerned about this at first because it seems like the shimmers or the pearlescent, things in it was all stuck to the bottom and to the sides. I'm not sure if it's because of the cold weather, maybe during the mail it just kind of settled in, but after I shook it vigorously like they instructed me to, it still didn't move. It was still like stuck at the bottom. So I'm not sure if it's going to affect the ink. I don't know if these are meant to be a lot more metallic than they came out. They also note that the white pearlescent ink is meant to be more for mixing colors rather than a super opaque white. I do agree that they are very pigmented from the bottle, like straight from the bottle, but they also mix super good in my opinion. I mixed the purple, copper, red, and blue to make like a super dark value, and I love the way the colors came out. If you're not too sure how to make shadow colors or desaturate your pigments, just try adding, for example, green to red or gold to blue purple, or vice versa, like red to green or blue or purple to gold. Basically what you're doing is just adding a touch much of its complementary colors. Some of you might already know this, but in case you don't, I do hope that this helps with this box. Some of my inks did dry on the palette and I was able to reactivate it, but it wasn't as easy as they made it seem. It took a little elbow grease to get those pigments moving around again. Metallic ink, it was so much fun. I mean, it stands out beautifully. I wanted to desperately keep making stuff with it. I mean, I'm probably gonna want to use it every day, but I probably won't because it's just, I can already tell it's a quick favorite. I also want to mention that I'm not sure if it's the paper, the ink, or user error, but the background wash was not that great on this paper. I don't know, it left it looking kind of like unfinished and it just wasn't a nice even flat wash. Nevertheless, I really like these inks. They're super promising. I love the shimmers and the fact that they're not super overbearing even when it's straight out of the bottle. But I mean, we'll have to see about that because like I said, the pigments seem to be stuck in at the bottom, so I'll have to, I'm gonna keep, you know, shaking them around every day and see what happens. But there's definitely a lot of possibilities with mixing the colors and diluting the water. I will say that I wish they were acrylic inks though, but that's just because that's just my preference. So when I went back to the blob in my sketchbook, you know, the first blob that I did in the beginning, I sort of saw like a hat and it reminded me of this picture. So I thought I'd do a quick sketch session recreating this picture, and I honestly love the way that both of these pieces came out. I definitely feel like I have more space in my sketchbook for maybe like 2 more simple sketches, or I don't know, I'm not sure, but we'll see where the month takes us. I do have a feeling that it's going to be a good month. This was a lot of fun to play with. I wasn't a huge fan of Paletteful Packs box last month, although I've seen some amazing art come from it. It's just, I just don't think the material is meant for me, but we'll talk about that more in my update video for last month's Paletteful Packs box. I definitely like this box more than last month, and it was a little tricky because I couldn't do much research on the product itself because of how new the product is. So this is going to be a lot of fun to play around with and to see what I can make with these. I really enjoyed making the still life with it. Painting with these can be super simple. I think they're great for catching light, and when you turn it, I mean, the video just doesn't do it justice. It's so pretty in person. I don't know how else to describe it, but besides that, it's just so pretty in person. I'm really looking forward to creating more with these. I think I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going to do more portraits with these. Maybe I will, because I really do like the way the portrait ended up coming out. But that was just on a whim. Maybe I'll do more exercises where I'm just, you know, kind of throwing blobs around, and whatever I see is what I'll be inspired by. I've really been enjoying that kind of exercise. I've also been neglecting my regular sketchbook, which is why I'm happy that I decided to have a separate sketchbook for Paletteful Packs, because when I do a sketchbook tour, a lot of it is just me playing with materials from art subscription boxes, and they're not like my own study sketches, and they're my own, but they're not my own. Does that make sense? Like, I'm doing it for the purpose of recording the video. So I like the fact that I decided to split my sketchbooks up this year, because it really helps me gauge how much I'm sketching and just practicing my drawing skills as opposed to my painting skills. I mean, painting, you know, I'm going to be painting all the time, but I think it's really important to every now and then just practice drawing something, and it does not have to be perfect. I mean, you can see how I scribbled a lot of the portrait here, and if I remember correctly, I went straight in with the pen. Yeah, I went straight in with the pen. I didn't use a pencil, and that's another exercise that I really want to try, because it helps me draw lines with meaning or like with intention, and that's something that I'm trying to really stick to and a habit that I'm trying to get into. Guidelines are nice, and yes, they're totally important and all that stuff, but what's also important is checking yourself and checking to see if you're improving. Like, you have your guidelines, but you should also kind of every now and then check to see how your freehand game is working. And I'm really proud of this one. I'm super happy with how this one came out, which means that when I'm using my guidelines or when I'm doing the guides, it's also creating muscle memory, and that means that it's going to be reflecting into my freehand stuff. So it's super important to just constantly practice and draw, and even if you think that it doesn't look good, it's never an art piece in vain, because you are one step closer to being where you want to be. And I think that's awesome because you don't notice that it's happening. But anyways, before I keep ranting, because I don't know how I got here as per usual, it was so nice to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me. Since I also got Sketchbox, and hopefully I will have that one posted up later on today as well. If not, I'll have that up on Sunday. But thank you again so much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.